Hi everyone. I don't think it's often that you get to hear toilets talk. Because the subject has been a taboo, and to turn the subject into something interesting, we add a lot of humor, and it works very well. Today, the talk is about how to get almost everything for free. I think this subject itself is already interesting enough because once you finish this session, you will be feeling very powerful. You will realize that alone you can do a lot of things without having to ask permission from anyone. If you see the logo here is actually happiness after visiting the toilet. Poo, pee, and be happy. Okay. So how do we get into a situation where you get everything for free? It's been an American tradition to learn from Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer was asked by Auntie Polly to paint the fence because he's done something naughty. And he didn't like to paint the fence because it was a Sunday morning, it's very hot. So he started to pretend he was having fun painting the fence. And soon all his friends asked to paint the fence, and he says that you can't do that unless you pay me. So he got away with a rat on a string and some broken logs and all kinds of souvenirs. But eventually he got his friends to help paint the fence 3 coats over, and everybody was very happy painting the fence, and he did nothing. And Auntie Polly came and was very happy with the result. So this is how community spirit is built. So my journey is when I started, I didn't do well in school, so I could not qualify to go to university. And so I started business at 24 after working for a job as a salesman for 3 years. Then at 40, I've got already 16 businesses, small businesses. I do trading and then manufacturing and real estate development and Australian International School in Singapore, all of which I know nothing about, but were making a lot of money because I found good partners who are experts. So for education, I found the principal in Australia who runs the best girls' school there to be the principal. And then I found a bundle of business people who would invest money in, and we ran the school. And we started with 32 students and 16 staff on day one and end up with 3,500 students 18 years later, and sold the school to a British group for $105 million. And I still don't know how to run a school. So what you need to learn during this talk, and if you don't remember anything that I said, I just want you to remember two letters, which is called OP. OP stands for other people. What you want to do is you want to use other people's talent, other people's money, other people's time, other people's reputation, power, influence, connection, everything. And once you are able to use other people, you are able to do anything you want to do. And to do that, you need to create a trust position where people believe and like what you are doing and share the mission, and after that, really no problem. So I have no status. I have some saving, no authority. I want to do everything on a shoestring budget. I was in Clinton Global Initiative, but I stayed in a hotel that's $40 a night in New York, Manhattan. So I want to stay on the ground, poor, so that I can understand and relate to everything that is real. In 1998, I read in the newspaper, the Prime Minister was saying we have to measure our social graciousness with the quality of our public toilets. So I thought, wow, that's really insulting because our public toilet's not very clean. But anyway, somebody's got to do this. So I started the Restroom Association and created the acronym RA, which sounds like a movie rating, Restricted Artistic Area. And the media was very, very happy to report this. Then in 1999, I realized that there were 15 toilet associations around the world without headquarters, and so I created the World Toilet Organization. What I thought is that if sanitation was neglected, the most powerful things to do was to make an acronym that play a pun on the World Trade Organization. So we call ourselves the WTO. And this is a really interesting strategy called the guerrilla marketing, where if the World Trade Organization don't sue me, then it will go to the top of the news. And if they sue me, it will go even larger than the top of the news. So you can't lose, right? And if really that they sue me, the only penalty was what is called a cease and desist, which means you got to stop using this acronym, which I would gladly change. But the gamble has no downside. So, and since we're at the bottom, you can't have a downside anyway. So we created also this design, which is a toilet seat cover, Love Your Toilet. And it went very well. So what do? We're very concerned about everybody who uses the toilet. We're not really interested in those who don't use the toilet because they are already gone, yeah? So here are all the areas like dignity, design, tourism, return on investment, pollution control of the river. Everything is related to the toilet. And we realized that because toilet is so related to the human person, then it is related to everything that the world is designed for. To break the humor, to break the taboo, I use humor. So this is a picture that is in the National Geographic documentary. We beat 6 documentaries were awarded out of 300 bidders. So it's a really 2% success rate, and we got it. And in this documentary, I was dressed like a mummy, and the media took it by storm. So these are the kind of things we do. We don't need any PR company. We don't need to employ anybody. We just need wonderful photograph, great headlines, and it works. So the media coverage was fantastic. Then I started the World Toilet Summit. I wanted all the 15 countries' government to come and talk about how to improve the state of sanitation around the world. But I don't have money to host the meeting. So I went to an event organizer and said to him, if you were to do it for free for me, I will help you sell exhibition booth that will then earn you money to pay for the conference. And he says, it's a deal. If you can sell the booth, I will give you the conference for free. And so it was done. And a lot of ministers and mayors around the world came to Singapore. And our Minister of Environment also came to grace the occasion. So you see, you can actually create a whole global meeting with no money, as long as you could barter trade and do some effort. After the first World Toilet Summit, the media coverage was so massive that all the other governments start to want to host it. So thereafter, I don't have to even sell exhibition space because I just give out hosting rights as if I'm the Olympic authority. So Korea was doing that the following year, and then Taiwan and Beijing. And in 2005, we were in Belfast, and this was partly funded by the Clinton administration when they were disarming the IRA. And we hosted one day after the Irish Republican Army disarmament, and have Belfast open for business. In fact, I read that Rick Perry was saying that the Democrats throw money down the drain and flush it down the drain because they supported organizations like us. And I think I would really like to send him a lot of information about the good work we're doing. So when you think about wanting to do something, if you think about limitation, then you really are always limited. You don't have money, don't have all these things. But if you think that the whole world is out there to help you, then you think abundance. You use other people's money, talent, authority, time, power, brand, and you align all of them towards that goal, and each of them gets something back. That means the politician will get their media publicity and their popularity. The academia will have their opportunity to publish, because if they don't publish, they perish, right? That's the culture of the university. And the donors would have a chance to find a recipient and how to empower people with the most efficient way. And as everybody gets aligned, you get more and more power from there. And you see, here is you don't ask, you don't get, right? So we asked the Lord Mayor to wear this ring and call it Lords of the Rings. And it's very popular. You can see his badge over there. In the following year, we went to Mayor Lutzkoff and asked him to let us use his Parliament House to host our World Toilet Summit. And how do we do that? We use a KGB former staff to do the connection. And he happens to be the Russian Toilet Association chairman. So we don't worry about not knowing somebody. We will find somebody who knows somebody. And he showed us how the astronaut pee and poo in space, in this spaceship Mir, and also how they pee in their pants when they are in the astronaut suit. So everything is recycled and it's an ecological cycle. And we learn a lot eventually how to do the ecological cycle on land as well. In 2007, the President of India opens World Toilet Summit. Now, this is the highest level of all, right? As you can see, something that started from nothing keeps on growing. And 6 ministers came, including members of the Gandhi family. That raises the status of the World Toilet Organization very high. And the Crown Prince of Holland also came to support because he's the UN Secretary General Advisory Board Chair for Water and Sanitation. Eventually, I get to meet Pascal Lamy and became his good friend, so that I'm now sure that he will not sue me, because he's the head of the World Trade Organization. And this was the World Economic Forum. We start to get donors as we become popular. So in the first 7 years, I don't get a single cent. I was running alone with the media and a lot of volunteers. And now we start to have no more financial issues. And more funders came in. And so the other thing to get is pro bono service. You can get free lawyers, free software, designers, architect, technologies, event organizer, branding consultant, franchise consultant, and all these people would gladly give you. So if you want to find pro bono service, always go to the best and the biggest company, because they can afford to give you pro bono service. A small company, they're struggling. So a lot of them have CSR program anyway. So here's another avenue to get free stuff. Then you get invited to speak, so you are flying and they are paying for the ticket, and the ticket has mileage point, and then you claim tickets for other trips which are not. So eventually you get free hotels and free everything, right? You can also serve on couch of other people's hotel, so you don't have to book your own hotel. If you go to a meeting and somebody is having a hotel, you can sleep on their couch. And also at the airport, I'm planning to sleep at Chicago Airport tonight, because I have a morning flight tomorrow. But you know, if you don't mind, if you don't feel like, oh, I'm so status conscious, you don't mind, you can do anything. And each time I sleep at the airport, I actually discovered that there are also other very nice people there. The last time in Chicago airport, I learned a lot about seeds and soil conditions and how to get very fertile soils from an expert who is also sleeping there. We get pro bono branding from designers, and these are new, very young. Then we can go brand extension into World Toilet Day. We named 19 November our founding day as World Toilet Day, and now it's celebrated all over the world. We want it to be as popular as Valentine's Day because both of them are about personal, intimate relationships. So remember, write that down, 19 November. Remember to tweet about it, go to your Facebook and send flowers to your toilets and clean it properly and love it. Yeah. Here's another one. We thought about, all right, we've done very well on advocacy. What about getting real toilets on the ground? We realized that if you were to donate toilet, it's not going to work because there are 2.6 billion people around the world, and that will never be enough donor funding for that. By the way, the amount that is required is exactly the same amount as 1 year of dog food Americans buy for their dogs. And I don't think you can raise that amount of money for the people to have toilets. So the solution is to teach people to be entrepreneurs. So we go down and teach the poor how to produce toilet and start a small little micro factory. And then we teach the village ladies who are cooking and taking care of the children, but there are certain time of the day they are free to sell toilets. So this sales lady becomes the commission agent for the producer, and each sani shop factory, the production plant costs $1,000. So for $1,000 we can start a factory that produces toilets and employ 4 jobs and 3 sales jobs. So 7 jobs for $1,000 that deliver public health in perpetuity. And the poor will have to buy the toilets from their own pocket money, $35 per family. And nothing is free, but it works much more sustainable than it is free. So of course, we have the pleasure of President Clinton's support 3 years ago at the Clinton Global Initiative in Hong Kong. And again, this time last week at the CGI in New York, we make a new pledge to create a World Trade Center for the poor. Through the work, Time magazine also gave acknowledgement of me as a hero of environment, 2008. We do not do our work for awards, but awards helps us do our work. So whenever this happens, it's really useful. And the President of Singapore as well. Last year, I came to Central Station. You know this lady, Nishi Nash? She's a TV star, and she has a program called Clean House. And we together hand out 10,000 train tickets for people to go from the Central Station to Queens, a place called Flushing. We send them Flushing, and we have media, 135 media overnight. So that was a very successful project sponsored by Clorox. Having seen the success of turning poverty and sanitation crisis into a business model through the Sani Shop, I also realized that we might as well do it for all the rest. We could do with solar energy where villagers do not have electrical connection. We could do with low-cost housing, with education, with health, and all kinds of fast-moving consumer goods and lifestyle products, including e-education, e-government, banking. So I created the Base of Pyramid Hub. This is an opportunity for 4 billion people who are poor and excluded from our formal economy. The world has 7 billion people. Everything that we are producing are serving only 3 billion, the people who are middle class and rich. But the 4 billion who are poor are now new customers because we don't have any more new customers. In the 3 billion, it's saturated. Americans are not buying so much. The Europeans, the Japanese are not buying so much. So with the shrinkage of the economy, this opportunity becomes very apparent that we should at least sell to the top layer of the bottom of the pyramid. Our vision is to create a global platform to scale social innovation, create market-based ecosystem for affordable, essential products and services for the 4 billion poor. So here's the saturated marketplace, and here's the new marketplace, and this is our new customer. You can see she's poor, but she's having a cell phone. The poor are buying so many cell phones. It's the biggest cell phone marketplace in the world. And with the cell phone, it comes together with education. You can get educated on the cell phone, you can loan money, you can do all kinds of things on the cell phone. And the cell phone is the highway to this marketplace. It's proven that the poor are not really destitute. There's only one kind of a poor that cannot buy, and you have to help them, and they are the destitute. All your life, you have been shown photographs of the destitute, and you thought the destitute are the only type of poor. Why are you shown this? Because you have been blackmailed by charity organization that says, give me money or the child die. I can only remember another type of people who say this, which are the kidnappers. So charity models are not sustainable. You better help the poor only when it is a disaster or when they're totally unable to help themselves. But the majority of the poor are capable. They are clever, they are discerning, they are entrepreneurial, and you should not treat the same, give the same treatment as disaster or destitute. And when you teach the poor to help themselves, they're actually very, very good. So what we do is we identify where are the synergies that people can come together and bundle them. So a microfinance organization would have a lot of clients who are already business people. They might be just doing milking a cow or doing a provision shop, but they could also sell other stuff like solar panels and water filters. And as each of them bundle up, you can do much cheaper, faster, easier when you piggyback on each other's resources, technology, distribution channel, production, and knowledge of local culture and social norms. So these are the entire group of opportunity, off-grid energy, livelihood. I think that American industry can start looking at this bottom of the pyramid because there are so many graduates that didn't find job. There's so much unemployed people. They could, instead of being job seeker, become job creator, become entrepreneur, and go into this sector and work with the poor and make it a business which is profitable for everyone. Other than poverty and sanitation, I also do a museum in Singapore, brought Dialogue in the Dark, a darkness museum where you are guided in the dark by a blind person, and after the 1-hour tour, you get to appreciate the blind very, very much and never look down on them for the rest of your life. So this is one project. We raised $1 million to do this in a school. I also brought in the Nobel laureate Grameen Creative Lab into a university in Singapore, as well as the World Entrepreneurship Forum. I started a village. I bought 10 acres of land across the causeway to Malaysia and teach the rich children the rural poverty lifestyle. So they have never seen a chicken with feathers in their life. So when they touch one, they're so happy. So this is a village environment to teach rich kids about poverty and let them take ownership of it themselves. President Clinton was also a very humorous man. 3 years ago when I met him after the photography session, he says, I thought you can raise money using a royal flush gala dinner. Because the ESPN player stars but they're also gamblers, and you might want them to help you. So I started designing these Royal Flush cards, where they're all having a fun time on the pot. And during this CGI meeting, I found the, the wife of Chevy Chase, and she's very well connected. And now we are planning an online auction of unique experiences using this Royal Flush event. And so we're not doing a dinner, but we're doing an online auction. So it's very, very, very interesting. Here's the king doing the same thing. So here are all other ideas lined up, and although time is very short, I keep on finding more energy to do more work. And I want to explain a little bit about time. Time is not 24 hours a day. You can have 24 hours a day, but when people are very tired, they actually have just 2 hours a day of productive work. If they hate their job, they might have 0 hours, or if they do a lot of mistake and cause trouble, they have minus hours because the other colleagues have to start undoing their job. So if you were to able to align with other people and use their time and their effort, you could do more than 24 hours. You could have easily 60 hours, 200 hours, thousands of hours a day if you are connecting and using other people to align with the work you do. One of the interesting things was to create a World Toilet Museum in China. I was in Hainan Island, and the provincial government was saying we have only one tourist attraction and not enough to attract the tourists. And I said, why don't you have a World Toilet Museum? And he said, what is that? I said, well, you can exhibit the history of toilets, the culture that people use the toilet, all different. You can also show the technological path. And he was so on it. Then I have to design it, so I went to Denmark and asked a famous museum designer to design this. It looked like a Guggenheim museum. Actually, it is from the top elevation, 3 toilet roll into one. And I went back to Hainan and said to the government, do you like it? They said, we love it. And they are allocating 1.2 hectares of land for it. And the next thing is, who's going to fund it? And I'm continually searching for investor for that. But I'm very sure it will happen because it is something that ought to happen because it's a very important advocacy and nice project to do. So every time I do something, I do not need to know where are the resources. I just need to know that people like it. And if people like it, it will happen. So what's sexy? The sexy is your belief. If you believe it's going to happen, then you will attract a lot of people. And their interests and values, your interest in their interests, and your purity of thoughts. If you are doing something for yourself, tends to be people won't like to come to you. But if you are doing something for society at large, with a social mission that is shared by everyone, then people will feel very comfortable to come. How do you build visibility? When you do something, always tell, but don't yell. When you build social trust, people believe in what you are doing, it's very easy to get a whole bunch of people to come. You serve and honor the media. When the media come to you, even if it's midnight, even if it's 1 hour deadline, time rush, give them the news. And always be your good self. Don't fake, don't pretend, don't put up a show. Just be who you are. And create nice, good sound bites, creative photography, design the headlines for them. And if you are in an audience, like here, ask the first question so you will also be visible. If you go out to win a prize, you can, but you can also create a prize and give out the prize. So that word of mouth will help you throughout if you do all these things. The personal lessons I learned is that humor works wonders, and ego, fame, money, status, they are like fire. If you control them and use them, it's good, but if it overwhelms you, they're very bad master. And fame can be something so intoxicating that you make you forget about your original mission. So always check yourself almost every day that you are always align with your original mission and not to be derailed by all the frivolous distraction. You have to have optimism, believe that the world can be better, love people, accept whatever is imperfect, and harmonize with all the rest. Life, there's no rehearsal, you only live one time, so just go and do it, and don't think too much about failure, success, difficult, easy. Just think whether it's fun or boring. If it's boring, don't do it. If it's fun, you have energy. And don't do business plan, because business plan are just what the university wants you to do. The guarantee of success is the same guarantee as the mother would guarantee a child's success. When the mother gives birth to a child, she doesn't create a business plan, but she has an idea that the child will grow up healthy, will grow up successful, will give her grandchildren, and all will be fine. And that is the guarantee of success, is you. How do you leverage people? You serve them. Don't be a leader. Be a servant who is a leader. And make them leader and ownership of it. Give all your ideas away. Don't need to be selfish. And do jobs that are in sustainable model. Create competition. So once you are doing something, hope that other people will also copy you and do the same. Don't be angry when they copy you. They're actually helping you finish up the mission faster. And make it a trend. This part is gruesome. I want to tell you that you're all going to die. It's a guarantee, and people don't think about it, but actually a lifespan is only 80 years. And if you were to know that whoever you are, you take 80 and minus the age that you are, multiplied by 365, that's the remaining time you have. I've been calculating, I have 9,300 days more to live. So why would I want to quibble about small things, about things that are making me upset or frustrated? I'm not going to waste time on that. I'm going to think about things that are very promising, and how am I going to use this time, because it's so urgent. And if you happen to be more than 80 years old, you have a bonus, and you are living more than the allocated time. But no matter what time you have left, use it. Yeah. So when you create a vision, you are like a time traveler. You go to the future world, and you see a very beautiful world. You come back and tell everybody how beautiful that is and how to get there, and everybody will follow you. If somebody says things like, oh, let's be realistic, that can't happen, we don't have the resource, you must get permission, please be professional, we'll lose our reputation, let's do a SWOT analysis. These people are all naysayers. Yeah? Let's get a consultant. Let's write a 5-year plan. These people, they are people who are trying to block the thing from happening. Just know that these people are not very helpful. And the helpful people are this type of people who says you're crazy, you're ridiculous, wake up, you're dreaming. Yeah? Fortunately, not everyone is like you. That's impossible. You'll never make it. These are compliments. So there's a difference between courage and recklessness. Courage is when you really believe in it. Recklessness, if you say, oh, I will go and try. So recklessness don't get you anywhere, but courage is, you are determined to do that. The game of the rules is good karma, be moral, be ethical, but don't have to be legal. Because if you are always legal, you will be restricted. America would never have been independent if 15 people did not commit treason to the crown in London. So they're not legal. And that's why you have a great country, right? Remember. Try to learn unrelated things. Things that are seemingly unrelated eventually become very useful. I think Steve Jobs gave us that lesson. So what's happiness? When you're free to do what you want, when you're very good at it, and we're doing it with a purpose. And when success the odds are against you, success is sweeter. Thank you very much.
Great job. Jack, I got to say that may be the most entertaining speech we have had here at the Clinton School. All right, we have time for a few questions. Dean Hoffpower has a question. May we get her the microphone? It'll come on.
I'm following your advice to be the first one to ask a question.
That's a trick.
Is there a way we could get a copy of your PowerPoint?
Yeah, it's already copied at the computer here, so please feel free to use it. Yeah.
There was a lot in there, and I'd like to go back to it, so thank you. It was wonderful.
I'm so glad it's useful for you.
We got a question over here, and I'll do it right over here.
Thanks, Skip. I had a question about bokashi. If you knew about bokashi, which is a fermenting system that was discovered in Japan. It's a way to ferment the waste once we've created it, which is kind of I guess the further question is, how once you establish a toilet, are you treating the waste in these areas that don't have treatment systems yet?
Yeah. The waste can be treated in many ways, because if we don't protect the waste from the flies, and if we don't protect it from polluting the underground water or the river or the surface water, then it actually spread disease and contaminate the environment. So the first thing is to contain the spread of disease and pollution. And the second thing is how to reuse this so that it becomes a resource. The human being is actually a fertilizing machine. If we were to think about agrarian society, we produce enough fertilizer for us to produce enough grain to eat entire year. That means we are by ourselves a sustainable design. What happened is that since the invention of the flush toilet, we've been throwing it away. And that goes together with wastages of water. And today, the phosphorus rock mines are depleting. And it will end around the same time as fossil fuel. And so if it's the one-way street, we mine the rocks and make it into chemical fertilizer. It goes into the ground, grow the grain. Either we eat the grain or the cow eat the grain and we eat the cow, which is 9 times grain. Then we poop it or urinate it and we throw it away. So if this one-way street, it will never come back. So what we really do in rural area is to compose it and recycle it. We also try to do urine diversion because we have 2 orifices, and the urine comes from the front, we can collect it, and the feces go to the back. So we can collect that separately actually, which was the original design. And with the urine, you can actually fertilize the ground quite safely. With the feces, we have to protect it because it's full of pathogen. So it can be done through composting and through lactate acid fermentation and many other ways. But right now, if there are too many people living together, we also convert it into biogas and turn it into cooking gas for the people.
Question, yes, Baker.
Is that on already? Hi, my name is Maggie. Thank you so much for coming. My question was in regards to your use or collaboration with the media. You said that you send out pictures and have good connections and that media works for you, but for things like National Geographic and documentaries, did you reach out to them or did they find the World Toilet Organization and reach out to you? And how does that develop?
Yeah, when you reach out to them, it's harder because when you reach out to them, they have thousands of people reaching out to them. So what you do is you get them to reach out to you. It's like a girl, right? You don't want to date a guy, right? I don't know about America, but so you want them to come to you. And what you do is you make yourself visible through once or twice, making some, like in the PowerPoint, you explain a lot of methods to get visibility. I realized that the wire agencies like Bloomberg, Associated Press, Reuters, they go very fast. They are all looking out for news. So you can go to the internet and do something really interesting. Think about something that is out of the norm. Don't I think there was some guy who's crying for Britney Spears, and he became very popular on YouTube. You know, things like this actually works. You know, so try to think of something meaningful that people will come to you, and keep the fire going, because creativity is about having fun and putting unrelated things together. And once you get into this habit, somehow it catches the imagination of journalists. Journalists are fundamentally activists by nature. You don't become a journalist unless you really want to change the world. And they are frustrated by their editors, who is always cutting what they want to say, and they're frustrated people. So if you give them something really meaningful for social change, they're on your side.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Sims. My name is Matt Lyon. I'm a first-year Clinton student. Thank you very much for coming. This is wonderful. I just had a question about the Sani shops and how they're, just what kinds of materials you're using, where you're getting your supplies, and how it's sustained over time.
Yeah. What we do is we don't want to sell them anything. They're making the toilets out of cement, and we give them drawings, which we copied from IDEO, which is a very famous designer. And we take whatever is open source, and we teach them how to produce the toilet, how to produce the mold. So you go to the village, town, and there's a welder, and he takes that drawing and weld it into a mold, and then he charged this guy, and it costs roughly about $250 to make the mold. And we teach them how to cast them, how to produce them. And the toilet costs about $25, and we sell it at $32, $33, and $5 is the profit for the manufacturer, and $2 to $3 is the commission for the village ladies who sell for him. So among themselves, there is this business profit motivation going on. There's also job creation, and there's improvement of public health by delivering dignity and safety to everybody. So you see, the investment is only the training cost. That means we go in and teach the locals. And once we teach the local, we want that local to start teaching other people. So we might end up even employing him for very little money, usually like $200, $300 a month, and this person can become our trainer. And then we leave. We don't want to have all these foreigners staying there for a long, long time, because the foreigners' costs are very expensive. And if you see the humanitarian community in the poverty sector, like Haiti and what, there are lots of foreigners. You shouldn't do that. You should always use local immediately and empower them, and leave as soon as you know they can handle.
Let's give a round of applause to Jack Sim.